Welcome back to another episode of The Jump. Whole lot of college basketball chaos this week. Some movement around the league of National Football League. A whole lot of just chaos this past week. Some controversy. So in this episode, we'll have a lot of basketball talk, per usual. Some college football talk, NFL Combine talk, a big retirement in the NFL, and then some other NFL stuff towards the end. A little bit of NBA sprinkled in, which will be a little bit of a change. But with that being said, let's get straight into it. So to get straight into college basketball, this one was a little controversial. One of the greatest athletes in the world right now, one of the greatest in her respective sport of all time, Caitlin Clark. She ends up breaking the all-time scoring record. This happened this past Sunday, and she announced she will forego her senior year. So this is towards the end of her run in Iowa. But yeah, breaks the all-time scoring record. She had broke Kelce Plum's girls record a few weeks back, and now she broke Pistol Pete, which is kind of ironic because everybody called her Ponytail Pete or something when she was a kid. So this sparked a lot of controversy because a lot of people, old heads mainly, some young, and some people that just hate on women, they just tried to argue Pete's was so much more impressive. He played 3 years, blah, blah, blah. I'm here to lay out the argument for both sides. For me, I don't see why we have to argue it every time someone breaks a record, somebody does something. Why don't we just appreciate it while it's here? And like for LeBron's perspective, like he ain't got much time left in the league anyway. So like, why don't you like show the respect and give them their flowers while they're hooping, so then we can not have to argue about it all. But for Pete's argument, like I said, he didn't have a 3-point line, and he only played 3 seasons, in which Caitlin played 4. So that's the argument there. But for Caitlin, so shout out to WT on Twitter. If you're a Kentucky fan and you don't know WT, you're doing something wrong. He laid it out for me. Like he just tweeted this, so I'm just going to use that as reference. Pete Maravich, he averaged 38 shot attempts a game in college, which is absurd. If Caitlin Clark took that many field goal attempts per game, and you removed the 3-point line, she would be averaging 41.2 points per game for her career, meaning that she would have broken Pistol Pete's record in just 27 games into her junior year. So she still would have broke the record if she took that many shots and took away the 3-point line. I mean, that shows it all right there. Like, I know that, what is his name? Dale Brown, he made up some chart to where you could see what shots would have been threes for Pistol Pete's career and added up all the points then. And I don't remember the total that it was if you added up those. Okay, he would have averaged 57 points per game if he had a 3-point line, which would have been 4,731. And Caitlin Clark currently has 3,685. So there's that argument. But another argument for Pete is there was no shot clock to speed up the pace of the game. I don't know. But Kim Mulkey did say this is like comparing apples to oranges. It's two different things. In my opinion, just respect both of them. They're both insane records. It's both at different times, everything. They're both like all-time legends in the college basketball world, so we just need to appreciate it. Another thing for the argument for Caitlin, Pistol Pete, his field goal percentage was 44, hers is 47. His free throw percentage is 78, hers is 86. So she's doing it more efficiently. But yeah, you could argue one had better teammates than the other. I'm not here to make that argument, but it's impressive nonetheless. Shout out to Caitlin Clark. She's literally getting something that might be more impressive than breaking the scoring record. She got Travis Scott to the state of Iowa. That's amazing. Not many people can do that. Yeah, Jake from State Farm was there. That's iconic. So shout out to Caitlin Clark. She's doing unbelievable things for the college game, and we're only down to like a few games left for her. Big Ten tournament and then the postseason. So yeah, props to Caitlin Clark though. Other than that, men's basketball, number 12 Creighton upset number 5 Marquette 89-75. Great game. Iguodaro, I think, is out. I don't know if it was from that game, but And then Tyler Kolek, he like, what was his numbers in that game? Let's see, Tyler Kolek. He was okay. Iguodala did not play in that game. That's what it was. And Tyler Kolek is out. I don't remember how long he's out, but so they're missing. That's their two best players. There's no argument about how like their two best players in that one. But for Marquette, it just sucks because Tyler Kolek literally won Big East Player of the Year last year and won't be able to finish the season. But I mean, they play at Xavier on Saturday, which is not just a game that you can just look past, blow past that one. So big win for Creighton. It's a big win versus that name, but context, it's a win. We'll put it that way. Number 15, Baylor upsets number 7, Kansas, 82-74. Kansas now has 7 conference losses, the most since the 88-89 season, which was Roy Williams' first year at Kansas. It's crazy. The new Big 12, man, like they've lost to 3 of the new 4 teams. They lost at UCF, home versus BYU, and they've lost to Houston. Or no, they haven't lost to Houston. They play Houston, and they will lose to them. I think that's Saturday, so we'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, it's crazy. This new Big 12 is no joke. And next year, it's going to be an absolute gauntlet. The winner, the regular season winner of the Big 12 is literally just going to be the best team in the country. Like, I don't care how many losses they have. If they just win the Big 12 regular season, just put them number 1, have them the number 1 overall seed next year, it's going to be ridiculous with next year's Big 12. Seton Hall at number 3, UConn. This is a big game because UConn, with this win, clinched an outright Big East regular season title. First time since 1999. They had won 5 championships, national championships, since their last Big East regular season title. It's crazy. They won 91-61, and Andrew Hurley, he scored the last point in the Gamble Pavilion for the season. So that was really cool. Dan Hurley's son, for those of you all that don't know or didn't connect the dots on that one. So that was super cool. Houston survived at Oklahoma. They continue to be battle tested going into the postseason here. So Houston is going to be one of my picks. Like, if I had to break it down to like 5 teams, Houston is easily, they might be 1 for me. It's them or UConn on who's going to be my favorite going into the tournament. Gonzaga, they're officially back. I kind of said this when they beat us at Rupp, but they killed San Francisco, who's not terrible. And then they won at St. Mary's this past Saturday. So it's impressive what they've been doing all week. And I don't know who they played this week. I didn't even check their schedule. Okay, they didn't. Oh, that's right, because their West Coast Conference starts. They play Monday in the semifinal. So looks like they might just run that one back. But they're back. They're in the tournament. They're not going to miss the tournament now with all these wins. Ohio State, one of the hottest teams in the country, which not a lot of people thought we'd ever say this season. Jake Diebler is now 4-1 as Ohio State's interim head coach with the win over Purdue. And then the Buckeyes are now 18-12, and they'll finish the regular season this upcoming Sunday at Rutgers. So it's going to be crazy. For my Cats, Arkansas came to Kentucky. We were number 16. We won 111-102. We were down 9 points with 8 minutes left, and then Rob Dillingham happened. But there was 21 lead changes in this game. It was crazy. We had 7 players in double figures. It was the 6th time in school history. First time since 2004 that had happened. It was the most combined points in an SEC game since 1996. 213 points combined. And right now, currently, actually, that was before this game, so we might be averaging more. We were averaging 89.5 points per game, highest in a season under Calipari. Before this was 16-17, which was 85.9. So we'll have that. We just scored 93 the other night, so we'll have that. Shout out to the Field of 68. They did this math. I don't know. I haven't checked it now, but this was on Saturday. Kentucky had scored 319 points in the last 7 days, and Virginia basketball had scored 313 in the last 25 days. It's crazy. It's just wild, the points difference. And I mean, Virginia basketball, it's a thing of beauty, but man, there's no points. Then we had senior night versus Vandy. So this was Wednesday, March 6th. So this past Wednesday. Brennan Canada did not go through it, but so we had 4 seniors that did. Trey Mitchell, Antonio Reeves. So I guess 3 that went through the senior activities. Kareem Watkins, Antonio Reeves, and Trey Mitchell. But Brennan Canada did like the post-game show and stuff. But I wish Brennan Canada would have done it. He did the senior night stuff last year, which I know like some people hate that people do it multiple times. But yeah, he did not go through that. But it was a cool night altogether. Like Antonio Reeves and Trey Mitchell. Antonio played phenomenal. And I mean, his 2 years here, he's going to go as one of the most underrated scorers and easily in the Cal era, maybe in school history. Because what he's been able to do, he's averaging 20 points per game right now. And it's going to suck because he's not going to win the SEC Player of the Year. But he has a chance to be an All-American. So I'm rooting for that. For All-American, obviously Zach Eady's going to be on it. Dalton Connect's going to be on it. I think Jamal Shedd will be on it. But then I think there's an argument. I think R.J. Davis probably deserves to be on there. And I think Antonio Reeves deserves a spot. Kevin McCullough had it locked until he got hurt. But Hunter Dickinson will probably be on that. So I think there's an argument. There's definitely an argument for Antonio to make it on there. But, yeah, like I said, Vandy was a feel-good win, 93-77 final. Vandy did their Vandy things where they come in to Rupp and just play lights out. But we were able to stop it. So before that game, it was the Tennessee at South Carolina game, which had a whole lot of weight because if Tennessee had lost that game at South Carolina, who had already beat Tennessee at Food City Arena, if Tennessee had lost that game, there would be a chance, if we were able to win on Saturday and some other things happened, there'd be a chance for a 5-way outright tie for SEC regular season champs. But the Vols got it done. The Tennessee Volunteers are the SEC regular season champions. It's their first outright regular season champion since 1967. It's crazy. Obviously, they've had really, really good teams, really, really good years. I think 08, 09, they tied with Auburn, maybe. And 18, 19, they tied with Auburn. So they've had really good teams. They've just tied and gotten co-SEC regular season champs. But, yeah, they won it outright for the first time in a long time. So Dalton Connect's legacy is still going crazy right now. So Saturday, we have a great slate of college basketball. We will start it out with number 6 Iowa State at Kansas State. It'll be a 2 o'clock tip. I'm excited for that one. Number 10 Creighton at Villanova. That'll be 2:30. Number 14 Kansas at number 1 Houston. That is going to be phenomenal. Houston's winning that though. That'll be 4 o'clock. Also at 4 o'clock, my Cats, number 15 overall, go to number 4 Tennessee in hope of a revenge game Saturday. And then number 7 North Carolina at number 9 Duke at 6:30. So that one is going to be awesome. I think that has a chance to be for the. Is that one for the title? It might be. I think that might be for the. Yeah, they're both. Okay, no. I think UNC. Okay, if Duke wins, I think it's a co-title. And then if UNC wins, obviously they just end up getting it. I think that's how it's going to go. But yeah, it's going to be a great Saturday slate. Last regular season Saturday of the year, so we'll get to have a nice slate last. If you're not a Kentucky fan, go ahead and skip this part. If you are a Kentucky fan, stay. This is the scenarios in which we get each seeding spot in the tournament. So we are a number 2 seed in the SEC tournament if we beat Tennessee and South Carolina loses a state, or if we beat Tennessee and South Carolina beats Mississippi State, Auburn beats Georgia, and Alabama beats Arkansas. Or Kentucky, Alabama, Auburn, South Carolina all lose Saturday, which is not going to happen. Or we'll be a 3 seed if we beat Tennessee and South Carolina beats State and Alabama or Auburn loses. Or South Carolina can beat Mississippi State and Alabama, Auburn, and Kentucky all lose. We'll be a 3. We'll be a 4 seed if Alabama or Auburn win and Kentucky loses to Tennessee, plus South Carolina beating Mississippi State. Or Kentucky loses to Tennessee, South Carolina beats Mississippi State, and Alabama or Auburn lose. And then we're a 5 seed if Kentucky loses at Tennessee, Alabama, Auburn, South Carolina all win. Which South Carolina's really they're the only team that has the tough game. So it's coming down to the end here. So all right, back to everybody talk, not just Kentucky. College football. So the new format, I haven't really talked about it a whole lot for the college football playoff. The SEC and Big Ten will both, this is the, if there's a 14, this is the new format if they do 14 in 2 years, which we have the 12 team for 2 years no matter what. The SEC and Big Ten would both get 3 automatic qualifiers. Top 3 from each conference are in. The ACC and Big 12 will get 2 each, and then 1 automatic qualifier from a group of 5. I don't hate it, but it just I don't know. I'm thinking I'm going to like the 12 team a lot more. So like I said, 2024 and 2025 we'll have the current system of 12 teams with 4 byes, blah, 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 automatic championship winners. So I'm going to like that. But for those of you all that didn't see the 14 team scenario, that's in the works. So we'll end up seeing if they switch to that or not. But that's how it'll work. It'll be 3 from the SEC, 3 from the Big 10, 2 from ACC, 2 from Big 12, and then 1 automatic qualifier from the group of 5. NFL Combine. I have 3 people I want to talk about. The Kentucky guys did fine. There wasn't anything crazy. I think it might have been Trevin Wallace that had really good numbers. So maybe he'll get drafted real high or something. But everybody else was fine. Like nothing alarming. I think it was just kind of what was expected of them. Ray Davis, I think, had a pretty good combine. But other than that, nothing crazy. So 3 players. Xavier Worthy, fastest 40 time ever. It's crazy. Was it 4.21? I think. So yeah, this is a dude I've loved for like 2-3 years now. I've loved this guy. He's gonna end up going somewhere, and we're all gonna have a question on how he ended up going to a certain team. It's gonna be one of those type things. Another guy, Olu Fashanu. So he ended up getting hurt. It was a thigh injury, I think. That was mainly the reason I wanted to bring him up. He got hurt at the combine. So now people, not because of Caleb Williams, like, it's just going to be like those later guys that are just going to start sitting. So the combine was already towards the end of, like, ever being a thing anyways. And then we have dudes getting hurt now. So it's going to be peace out combine soon. Because Fashanu, I mean, he's projected top 10 still. So him getting hurt is a big deal. And then QB-wise, Joe Milton. He's ridiculous, man. Like, when Kay used to be on here, obviously, he was the one that would talk about him all the time and stuff. But I have watched the dude at Michigan and at Tennessee. He's not a great quarterback, but boy, does he have an absolute cannon. He's just fun to watch. Like, these combine highlights and stuff of him, awesome. It's going to be fun. Fun to see where he ends up in the league. And I've heard people talk about him just, like, getting signed to a team just as a Hail Mary guy, which would kind of be sick. So we'll see where Joe ends up, Bazooka Joe. Other NFL news. I mentioned it in the intro. Jason Kelce retires. He spent 13 seasons in the NFL. He was a Super Bowl, 52 champ. 6-time first-team All-Pro, 3rd most ever by a center. 7-time Pro Bowler, most consecutive starts in Eagles franchise history with 156. Most regular season games played by an offensive lineman in franchise history for the Eagles, 193. And this is from the Eagles' greatest Super Bowl parade speech of all time. Yeah. And then one day later, in the most Jason Kelce way possible, he jumped on a table that was lit on fire. that rocked. This dude, he's just so fun. Yeah, it was sad. His speech and everything, it was extremely sad. I know a lot of people were hating on him because like he basically already retired and then acted like he wasn't retired and then retired a couple months later. But I don't know. Shout out to Jason Kelce. If you don't like him, look in the mirror because Jason's so easy to like. Or I guess you could be a rival of them or something. But man, I love Jason Kelce to death, man. The Giants are not placing a franchise tag on Saquon Barkley, so it's making him a free agent. I listened to NFL Today the past couple of days, and the teams that I heard the most about was Houston, which would be phenomenal. The Bears, I think that would be awesome, pairing it up with like a super young quarterback. That was the main two teams I heard a whole lot about. Other than that, I mean, wherever he goes, it's an instant bonus. Like Saquon is absolutely phenomenal. So we'll see where he ends up, but it's huge news because Saquon's at least, you got to think he's got at least a couple more years in him of him being elite. So I guess we'll see where he ends up, and we'll follow that throughout this offseason. NBA. LeBron James becomes the first NBA player to ever hit 40,000 points. It's crazy. To get to 40,000 points, this is just to put it into perspective, someone who averages 30 points per game their entire career would need to play 20 years on an average of 67 games per season. That stuff ain't going to happen. Like, the people that argue modern medicine and like all this stuff, like people come in the league and leave before LeBron. It's crazy. Like, I don't see why, this is another thing, like I don't see why people don't respect this. This is the craziest thing about LeBron, though. It took him 368 games to get from 0 to 10,000 points. And it took him also 368 games to get from 30,001 to 40,000. It's crazy. And then in between that, from 10,001 to 20,000, it took him 358 games. And then from 20,001 to 30,000, 381 games. But from 0 to 10,000 and then 30,001 to 40,000, taking the same amount of games is just wild. Like, longevity is so crazy. So, yeah, like, what he's been able to do in the time that he's done. I saw there's people betting now on over under 2.5 years played for him now, like, after this season. So, it's definitely towards the end. I got to get to a game and watch him soon. But living in Kentucky, it's tough because there's nothing is really close. The Pacers, the Hornets, the Grizzlies, like that's the closest teams, and so I guess Atlanta too. But it's just tough to get to a LeBron game. But I gotta see him play before he retires, because it's crazy just what he's been able to do. 40,000 points. He's been the fastest player to ever score every 1,000 points too, like 1 through 40. It's wild what he's been able to do. To wrap this up a little bit. The Las Vegas A's, sounds weird to say, they unveiled their mock-up of their $1.5 billion stadium. I'll try to throw up a picture on the screen. Yeah, it's crazy. This stadium is ridiculous. It's the most Vegas in 2024 stadium ever. It's crazy. Heard mixed reviews on it. I liked it though. I think it's futuristic, and I think it's kind of cool for the rebrand to have this stadium. So I'm a fan of it. It's crazy looking. Whole lot of money to spend on a stadium, but yeah, they're getting it going out there in Vegas. And then lastly, Arch Manning. He opts out of NCAA college football. 25. He said he wants to wait until he's the guy. So he wants to be a starter by the time he gets in the game. So I don't understand this argument at all. People are just gonna either create him or because he's not the starter anyway, so it's not necessarily gonna matter. But yeah, I guess that's he started a little controversy, and people started blaming it on the last name because like Eli Manning was a lock to go 1 to the Chargers, and then he basically just said no, I'm not going to the Chargers. So that was kind of crazy. But other than that, Indiana, they announced they're keeping Mike Woodson. But the crazy thing about that is Liam McNeely. number 15 overall recruit in the class of 2024, decommitted today. So they announced it yesterday that they were keeping him, and then he decommitted today. So I don't really understand what the mindset there is, but yeah, it's kind of crazy. Other than that, a little punch down at the little brother, the Louisville Cardinals. Joson Sannon, I think that's how it's pronounced. He's a very, very high recruit in the class of 25. He flew from Boston to Louisville Wednesday, and he went on like a 2-hour visit with Louisville. Took like a picture with Kenny Payne, and like their fan base started going crazy. He was kind of like, like their whole fan base was kind of thinking like, no matter who the next coach is, like if we can get this guy, it's looking up. Like we'll be fine, because he's that good. And then he ends up going to the Kentucky game that night. So he ended up going to senior night. It's kind of goofy. Louisville fans were just absolutely crushed. So that's just another knock at the little brother. So Louisville's got to know that they're not getting him. So and also Louisville fans are absolutely ridiculous. All the talk this whole week has been about them getting Scott Drew or Billy Donovan. There is no way in the world they're getting either of them. Maybe Scott Drew. There's a chance of Scott Drew. Billy Donovan is not going to Louisville. And people are making pictures of it and stuff, saying that he's like looking for land. Billy Donovan will not be going to Louisville. It'd be stupid. It would be the worst move of his career, and putting his career at risk. So, but with that being said, I think that'll just about do it. Covered everything. A lot of college basketball. Great college basketball this week. Y'all gotta lock in. March is here. So we'll see how that goes. So I guess this is the first podcast I've done since March started. So I don't know if I have access to the music. I don't know if this will get copyrighted if I play it, but if I can play it, I'm going to play it on the way out. So with that being said, thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of The Jump. Throw some comments, subscribe. I appreciate any and all support going towards the channel. So thank you once again for tuning in. Y'all have a great rest of the week, and peace.